Welcome to an episode of Potion Sword Run. In this episode, we're gonna chill and talk about video games because that's what I want to do today. Star Wars Outlaws turned out only sold 1 million copies. And that is not good enough for such a big budget game like this. The Star Wars name alone doesn't hold that much weight anymore, it seems. You just can't sell games based on Star Wars franchise. So Disney charging that much money for their licensing fee isn't worth it for big studios anymore. Might as well develop your own games with your own lore and try to capitalize on that. Because Star Wars Outlaws is not a bad game. In fact, it's one of my best games I've played this year. Probably the best one so far. The Star Wars brand in that game goes a long way. It makes the game much more fun than it should have been. But because it's a Star Wars game, that pretty much kept me going through for about 70 hours. Well, obviously I'm the exception to the rule because it didn't sell the way it should have sold. I'm not sure if it had to do with the actual characters, being a smuggler, not being a Jedi, not battling Sith, like the main things that people look for in a Star Wars game, using the Force, the whole mystical part of Star Wars. Instead, we got a grounded game, and I think people just didn't gravitate towards that. But again, I also think it's because Star Wars is an old franchise. It came out, 40 years ago? So how relevant can it be in today's standard, especially with the kids growing up with different type of movies, different type of pop culture and stuff? Like the MCU is huge this generation with the kids, not Star Wars. I think the nostalgia for Star Wars is what's keeping it going for older people and maybe their kids because their parents like it. But I think unless it's like a badass Star Wars game with lightsabers and maybe it has to do with Darth Vader and Skywalker saga, I don't think any other type of Star Wars game is ever gonna sell like millions upon millions anymore. Especially because I think we're oversaturated with Star Wars. Now, I definitely enjoyed my time with Outlaws. I passed it just recently. It took me about 75 hours. But see, I took my time. I did a lot of side missions. I did a lot of treasure hunting. I did all the sabacc tables. I searched almost every nook and cranny. Now, I still have contracts to do for different people. But, that's all just cleanup work at this point. I pretty much seen everything that had to be seen in the game, and I have no regrets. It's just sad that there probably isn't going to be a sequel. It's just sad that Ubisoft is probably not going to gamble on another Star Wars game anymore. I'm glad that it was Ubisoft that made this game. We got a different interpretation of the Star Wars from a different studio because the way that EA did their Star Wars games was terrible. At least Outlaws isn't full of microtransactions and stuff like that, the way that they used to be done before, at least in the current gen. But hearing that it only sold 1 million copies and that because of that Ubisoft is struggling, not only that, Skulls and Bones, it just like Ubisoft, like their games are just not selling anymore, at least not to the point where they need to. They just spend so much money on these games and they're not getting a return on their investment. But I think it's because they're using a stale formula. Pretty much all Ubisoft play the same. All Ubisoft games play the same. Little different variations here, tweaks in there, but pretty much it's the same formula. And I think finally people are getting tired of it. Now, there's a lot of speculations about Ubisoft and what's going to happen to them. I really don't know. I don't really keep up with that stuff anymore. But I just hope that they're able to come through and reinvent themselves on the other side. I also want to talk about Arcade 1UP. Now, I haven't talked about Arcade 1UP in a long time because I lost interest in trying to buy those cabinets. They just weren't for me. I looked into it and I thought maybe, but nah, waste of space, waste of money. But speaking of waste of money, they released a claw machine. A claw machine for $500 so that you can put in your arcade room. But the thing is, the whole purpose of a claw machine is to win prizes for little money. This claw machine comes with 12 capsules where you can put your own prizes in there. I see this as a total waste of money. I mean, who is it for? Like, what is it for? To put into your arcade room so that you can get your own prizes and try to win your own prizes that you already paid for? The ones that you put in there? Like, why would you trap your treasures in this capsule? Why would you put it in this machine just to get it out? The only thing I see this good for is for birthday parties. If you want to have a birthday party in your arcade and you have this claw machine for the kids to play and you give out prizes, that's the only thing that I see this good for. But the downfall or the negative part is you have to spend $500 up front for the machine. So are you really going to spend $500 for this machine for a birthday party when $500 could almost cover the whole birthday party? So I guess it's for collectors. Collectors of 1UP, like 1UP community. Let me know, what is this? Like, is this the type of stuff you guys are looking for towards this company? Like, this is what you want the company to produce? Claw machines? Like, what's next? I'm joking. Like, what's next? Some kind of carnival you know what? They might as well just start doing like casino machines, you know? At least then you can put your own money in there and like get that dopamine, like you're winning money, but you're not, because this whole claw machine where you have to put your own prizes in there, it doesn't make sense for the average consumer. It doesn't really make sense for the people who own their own arcade, who don't really have people over. I mean, what are they gonna do? Like, how much fun is that gonna be? You're really gonna spend $500 on that? I'm just saying, good God. I don't know what 1UP is doing. I mean, 1UP arcades. I guess when you run out of ideas, you just start trying to, nickel and dime your customer base and try to scam them for whatever you have. Man, I guess, just put something out there and hope people buy it. That's pretty much what it seems like. It ain't for me, though. Nuh-uh. I'm skipping Shattered Space. Why? Because it looks like a lot more of just plain Starfield. The problem with Starfield was that it kind of got boring pretty quick. It got very repetitive. And there was no reason to explore because everything was procedurally generated. So there was no like interest points that were handcrafted or anything like that. Now supposedly Shattered Space is more handcrafted, but when you look at it, it looks like you've been there and done that. And for $30, it's like, come on, you can just buy a brand new game. So I think that was a total miss. And supposedly Bethesda thinks that Starfield is going to have legs like Skyrim or any other Morrowind or Fallout. No, they need to give up on this game, because even given by the DLC didn't really sell that well. It isn't received well. People aren't coming back to the game like the other games. So I know it took a long time to develop. I know it took a lot of, sweat, tears, and whatever. But sometimes you just got to count your losses, and this is one of them. Starfield isn't going to have the lasting power that the rest of the games had. And me being a big Xbox fan, being a big Bethesda fan, being a Fallout fan, a Morrowind fan, I'm telling you, this game just isn't it. Like, there's no incentive for me to go back and even finish it. It's like I get bored going to the same places, traveling to different worlds that are all the same. It's just, this one was definitely a miss. They thought that just coloring, putting pink and purples in the game would make it like different. No, it's almost like that DLC for Far Cry 6 when they started just putting purple crystals everywhere and thinking that's gonna make the game more enjoyable or different or fun. Nah, a fun game is a fun game. It doesn't matter what color palette it is. And Starfield, paint it pink, purple, blue, whatever you want, it's not gonna make it fun with the same repetitive environments and things to do. And one thing I want to talk to you guys about is TikTok. I've been using TikTok to look for lawn care videos. I like the whole motion of cutting grass. So I watched all the ones on YouTube and I keep on getting repeats. So I went to TikTok and I scroll through, TikTok. And I keep on finding these people everywhere on TikTok. Like, I understand people trying to make money, I guess, doing NPC type of stuff, but wow, it's like they spend hours and hours and hours just in front of a phone hoping people give you money doing this. But there's a lot of them. I mean, a lot of them, hundreds and hundreds as I scroll down, different people doing this. It's just pretty weird. I'm not sure if I like TikTok. Like, I don't really follow too many people, and that's probably why. Like, I need to start following different creators that I like. I follow the Atari Creep. He has his art channel on there, and that's one of the ones I follow. I follow some lawn care channels, but most of the time when I'm scrolling through there, it's mostly just ads and this weird stuff, like live streams of people just not doing anything. Not just these Indian people, but regular people too, just sitting there and like hoping you give them money. It's just weird. I don't know what TikTok is all about, but anyways, if you want to follow me on there, it's Potion Soda Run. I don't really put too much stuff on there, but hey. And that's gonna do it for this episode. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you for giving me your time, spending your morning, afternoon, or evening with me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Much appreciated. Peace.